There are 9 types of curriculum adaptations, and I'll go through them again. Number 1 is quantity. Number 2 is the time, and time again is giving them probably extra time to complete the task. Number 3 is your level of support. You might want a teacher assistant such as Sherry to come in and improve on that support system for that child in an inclusion model. You have inputs that you as a teacher control over your instruction, and you can vary that, and a beautiful word that comes to mind here is differentiated instruction. You can adjust on your task difficulty and output, participation, alternate goals, and substitute curriculum. In addition to that, I have a method that you could employ or think about as a teacher. There are various ways you could, as a special education teacher, work collaboratively with a gen ed teacher or work collaboratively with a special ed teacher assistants. You can do what is called one teach, one observe, and support. You could do station teaching. You could do alternative styles of teaching. You can actually do team teaching. And I'm doing a little of that today, where I'm doing a little bit of team teaching, using my panel to teach you the strategies. So there are different co-teaching methods out there, and you can research more about the different styles and methods. Okay? The next piece I'm going to talk about, folks, is actually the nitty-gritty of how do we do this, Charlie? How do we do this, Sherry? You know, how do we go into Miss Maddox's class and take material and modify it? Well, here's the good news. I have stuff on the floor, and I'm going to run out to them and pick them up, and we're going to put them up and talk about it. Number 1, the camera can zoom right in here. I present to you shortening of the task. Look at that. You can actually do the first 5 examples. Do only one type of the problem. Do 3, then choose one of the 3. Do only items related to your IEP goals. You can actually shorten that task. Could you hold on to that? Thank you. I'm going to go and search again. Wow, look what I found. Try bigger or close material. You could do what's near point for students who have difficulty with seeing and have probably visual difficulty. So you can make, look at that word, big and close, getting it bigger. The next one I have is take an original assignment, and you can actually do this. You can put prompts on your materials. Number 1, bullets. You can put stars for attention. You could actually draw arrows to point to the information that's most important. You could use green highlighter or a blue highlighter, whatever color you like. Okay? Talking about color, we can also add color to our assignments and our textbook. You could actually use keywords. You could indicate some parts of the assignment that's more important than other parts, or maybe do just this part of the assignment and do what's called chunking and breaking that down for that particular student. So there are so much of stuff here. Oh, there's another one. Wow. Where you take a simple idea, put that in the center, and you can branch out. And you can use pictures, you can use graphics, and you can take something that's mundane and boring like a worksheet to fill out and represent it in an alternative type of format, okay? Using pictures and graphics. Here's another one that I like. It's called masking that part of the work. Masking that part of the work, this will help someone who has reading difficulty, and you just make a cutout of a board, and then you block out all of the extraneous stimuli, and you just focus on just that particular reading material. All right, moving right along. There's one that helps with time. It's called Simplifying Student Response Examples. Change 4 choices into 2. Change your fill-in to just true and false. Change multiple choice to true and false. Simplify your matching. Maybe give them a hint. Substitute pictures for words. Okay? And what else do we have? Yes. To be able to do this, we must be able to have several ways to adapt the material, and that the first step is you need to start, like Charlie talks about, what can the student already do? What are the students' learning strengths right now? Are they more of a visual learner, more of an auditory learner? What are their learning patterns? How can these be maximized? How can you check with the IEP to see if you have alignment? How are you going to measure for goal attainment? The next piece that's important is basically the ways, and that's how do you simplify, how do you shorten? Do you want to bring in more pictures? Are you going to change the instructions? So this basically summarizes all the ways we've been talking about to adapt the material. So let's go to my PowerPoint now, and I just want to justify why we do what we do. And that is, why inclusion? Number one, it is the law. It is mandated, FAPE, free and appropriate public education. It is morally and ethically the right thing to do. Okay? Some of the barriers, you've heard my guests talk about these. Number one is negative attitudes. You come in with a certain amount of stereotypes. You have to click undo on those. You have fear. You just don't know. You don't want to go to that extra mile. You have a lack of understanding of your legal responsibility. There is a huge issue here. It's called lack of training as well. You need to get better equipped about how to make those modifications. Go to your toolbox. I've started your toolbox today, and I hope you add to it. You also have lack of support from your leadership. If you have a principal out there that does not believe this is not going to work, it won't work. There's a lack of plan, very important. And the greatest problem of all of these barriers is planning time. Teachers do not have planning time. It is seen as if we have to do one more thing. And that is one of the number one barriers that I have found in the inclusion world. Okay? So, hearing all of these, hearing all our panelists talk about inclusion, what it is, what they have done, I want to debunk some of the myths. Here are some of the myths out there that you need to know about inclusion. Every child with a disability needs one-on-one aid. That is not true. You have to know everything about the child's disability in order to support that child. Absolutely not true. Okay? It costs too much to do inclusion. There's some legal issues on that one, but we won't go there. And lastly, including children with disabilities will compromise the quality of the program for other children. That's a big one. That's a big hurdle. And what we have here is misinformation, and you know, some parents probably do not know about the disability, so we just need to isolate the children from the classroom. So that's a quick fix, but that's not true. All research points out that children with disabilities in a regulated class actually increases achievement scores at least by 1 standard deviation. There's research to support that over and over again. So we need to really think this through, okay? Here are some tips and advice I'm going to give you, and you've heard this from Charlie. You've heard it from our panel today, from Christina and Sherry. It's simple. Just do it. Inclusion can start right now, today. It starts with one student. It starts with a mindset. It starts with a new way of thinking. It's a paradigm shift. You have to move in a different way. You have to think in a different way. Inclusion, you know, what does it mean for you? How do you create a community where everyone is welcomed, valued? And remember, it is the right thing to do, okay?